The sprawling Tibetan reception center for refugees built 10 years ago by Tibetan exile authorities in the northern Indian town of Dharamshala wears a desolate look. Its dormitories lie mostly unused. This facility was meant to be a transit stop for the over 2,500 Tibetans who clandestinely crossed over high mountains from China into Nepal and then onto India every year until 2008. But in June, this center documented the arrival of only 2 young men who are still too fearful to face the camera. Tibetan exile administration officials based in Dharamshala say 80 Tibetans came to India in 2017. Its spokesman, Sonam Dakpo, says the number could be less this year.
China has brought a very strict restriction in the internal movement of the Tibetan people. So now Tibetans cannot move freely within Tibet.
The plunging numbers present a challenge for second and third generation exiles in India. Campaigning for more political freedom for Tibetans, says Tenzin Selha, head of the Students for a Free Tibet in India.
It is hard for us to get the sense of reality, what's happening inside Tibet, because there are not many Tibetans coming. So that concerns me most of the time, right? Like, we talk to people like those who are from Tibet, like who came 10 years back, okay, maybe 8 years back, 5 years back, but they know the reality to some extent, but they are still further away from the reality because they are not there right now.
First-hand accounts brought by newly arrived Tibetan exiles about restrictions on movements, Buddhist worship, and a climate of fear long gave momentum to the Tibetan movement. An ardent supporter of a freer Tibet, Gyaltsen, who crossed to India in 2004, also worries about the growing disconnect.
To connect with the Tibetans inside Tibet is really hard. Only people who come from Tibet has the connection. And secondly, those people who come from Tibet, they bring with them cultural things, not just their person. They bring a lot of cultures from different angles of a Tibet. So it's connect culture, people together. But once the people stop coming here, we don't have, we are here, but we're just the one, and we are no more in connections.
The plunging refugee numbers means less use of infrastructure built by the exile community over 6 decades. There are fewer new entrants at Tibetan schools in Dharamshala and Buddhist monasteries. But despite the declining numbers of new arrivals, the commitment to the cause of a freer Tibet remains unwavering in the hometown of the Dalai Lama. Anjana Pasricha for VOA News, Dharamshala.